Identity crisis. We've all had them, we've all gone through them, and this video I'm going to talk to you about how you can actually define your identity. If you are going through an existential crisis, this is going to be massively valuable, so stick around to the end. But firstly, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ash. What is your identity? How do you really define yourself? In the last 10 years, I've gone through so many identity crises that I've lost count by now. But in last year, I've gone through a program called the Unleash the Power Within from Tony Robbins, and that was life-changing. Through that, I learned how to accumulate all my experience and define and design my own identity now. So I want to teach you how you can define the person that you want to be as well. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this all the time. For those of you who don't know who Gary V is, have you been living under a rock? He's the owner of VaynerMedia, a massive influencer, and a serial entrepreneur, as well as a motivational speaker. So if you haven't already, make sure to go follow him. But he talks about how everything we do is a bit of a representation of who we are and the type of person that we want to put out into the world. So for example, the type of clothes we wear, the shoes, the accessories. So it's easy to see why we do what we do, because we want to show to the outside world that we are a certain type of person. Maybe if you think about all the rappers wearing extreme bling right here, or if you think about Mark Zuckerberg kind of wearing the same clothes or super chill clothes. The two represent very different lifestyles, or they at least portray a very different type of person. So that is the external of who we want to represent ourselves to be. But what about the inside? What are the inside outfits and accessories we wear? Because as we know, these two people who represent to be one type or another may be completely different on the inside. Well, the answer to that is our internal narratives. What we say to ourselves, the words we use to describe ourselves, those formulate a bit of the outfit or the identity that we have for ourselves on the inside. Now, here's a little spiral for you guys. As I mentioned, the thoughts that you have inside you define kind of who you are, right? But the way they do that is the thoughts that you have actually define the emotions that you feel. The emotions that you feel will dictate the actions that you take. And the actions that you take, you guessed it, becomes the thoughts that you have. So that's why if you're feeling in a low mood, by doing nothing and by just binge watching TV and feeling bad about it, will lead you to a more negative spiral loop because of this exact mechanism that I just showed you. By the way, if you want to find out how to get out of a rut, there's a video right here for you to check out. At the same time, this is also why people who are feeling great will continue to feel even better, because they're going to take better actions, they will win, they see the wins stack up, and they're going to suddenly skyrocket their emotions. Now let's say you're going through this identity crisis of who you are, what am I? You have to realize that the thoughts, emotions, and actions are who you are on the inside, but these are controllable. However, the thing that's going to play against you is the fact that our brains are actually, believe it or not, evidence-based. However, even though it's evidence-based, it's actually very biased. What I mean by this is it's biased towards the thoughts that you already have. It's biased to try to prove to you that the identity you have for yourself, the thoughts you have, the words you use to describe yourself is actually true. It's going to try and find every evidence possible to make that the case. As Tony Robbins says, humans tend to not like to be inconsistent with themselves. Yes, you're probably inconsistent on everything else, but when it comes to your own identity and the type of actions you take, humans tend to not be inconsistent with that. For example, let's say you're in a bit of a rut and you start considering yourself as a bit of a loser. Now, a championship tournament comes up on whatever it is that you're actually good at secretly. Are you really going to think that you can take on this challenge now? If you feel like a loser, will you take on this challenge? Like if you're really good at lifting, will you take on a lifting competition because it came up? If you're a really good athlete, will you take on the Tough Mudder challenge because it's come up, even though you're feeling a bit of a loser? No. The answer is no. However, the same person, if they were feeling like a winner and this competition came up, will they then take it on? There's a much higher chance of that being possible, right? So hopefully you can see that that is how your identity or who you believe you are is always going to come to shape. Sadly for us, it's true for good or for bad. However, we can change this whole thing. Remember the whole cycle of the thoughts, emotions, and actions? Well, if you start changing those, then you can change the identity of the person that you are. But you have to collect evidence to prove that. Let me prove it to you in a bit of a story. Now imagine you tell your friends that you are Jesus Christ. Are they going to believe you? No matter how much you tell them, you can even hold a gun to their head. Will they believe that you're Jesus Christ. In some way, shape, or form, they will not believe you. However, if you turned water to wine in front of their eyes or walked on water, will they then believe you? They might not believe you 100%, but there'll be a part of them that will start saying, wait a minute, maybe. So that is what I mean when I say evidence-based. And that's why I don't believe that affirmations alone are enough to change your identity from the inside. Because if you start looking at yourself in the mirror and keep saying to yourself, you're confident, you're outgoing, you can do this, you can do anything, but actually you haven't collected any evidence to prove that, what's going to happen? Not that much, right? You're not actually going to be able to believe for yourself that you are confident, you can do anything. So you have to start collecting evidence in order to change your identity. But it can all start with just your words and how you refer to yourself. So if you want to change your identity, start by changing the narrative that you have going on inside here. Oh, there's a cat behind me. Let me give you a simple illustration to explain this. Let's say you're a smoker and you want to try and quit smoking. You've been trying to quit smoking for 2 years now. The next time you go out and you're standing there socially and somebody offers you a smoke, what did you used to do before? You used to say to them, oh, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. Next time you're in a social situation, standing outside and somebody offers you a smoke, you have two choices, right? You can either say, no thank you, I'm trying to quit, or you can say, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. You see how powerful the second one is? The I'm trying to quit shows that you're still trying and you haven't succeeded, but it's still an action that you're trying to do. But I'm not a smoker it defines your being. You as a person are not a smoker. Just like in the earlier example, you believe that you were a loser, you are a loser. If you believe that you are a winner, you are a winner. So start changing the words that you use to describe yourself. Watch out. What you say after I am starts to become who you really are. So if you start saying I'm tired all the time, you will be tired all the time, even if you're not. So do you see now why affirmations alone don't work, and instead you have to understand this entire cycle and collect evidence to prove how you can change and the new identity that you want to develop for yourself. So if you're going through an identity crisis right now, that's okay. Just know that you can define who you want to be and really design the identity that you want to have for yourself. So don't be discouraged. And if you're worried that in the process of you trying to define your identity, other people are going to laugh at you or what are they going to say? Well, first of all, they can all just shut the fuck. But more importantly, you've got to realize that people are going to talk behind your back regardless of whether you change your identity or not, if you do something new or if you do something old or if you don't do anything at all, they'll still be talking behind your back. So you might as well give them to something to talk about and at least control that. But if that's not enough for you, then watch this video because it will help you out massively. And if you've liked this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel because you don't want to miss all the videos that I put out each and every week. And YouTube thinks this is the video you should watch next because it's right up your alley. If not, watch one of the videos I've put up in the cards because that's not going to let you down. And if you want to see more of my videos, then turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of the new videos that I put out. I hope you enjoyed this one. Leave a comment below. I'll see you next week.